the essentials of statistical bias and why it's important.
Yeah, sure. I'll try to do it. So basically, that's something I've been curious about recently. And that's something as for me, I mean, bias is nothing else as an systematic error. Systematic error, if we talk about bias in a statistical way, it's a systematic error or tendency during the data collection process or that data processing steps. It can be easily transferred to our everyday life and to the way we think, just because it affects our judgments and our opinion making. And somehow I was reading about it a lot, and I've decided to summarize it in my article on Medium. Yeah. So if we talk about it, about the importance of it, it's definitely how we can be a better human beings and how we can develop ourselves to a better humans, to be more rational, to be more precise, to be. It's also a very important step to avoid discrimination, for example, to avoid such stuff as, I don't know, society polarization, for example. That's and yeah, that's a small summarization of it.
Something I find, I'm very pro rational people. People should be critically thinking people, but it's not necessarily sexy when you talk about it.
Of course, I can give you a small idea why it's important. I mean, to my mind, for everyone. So there are different types of statistical bias that can be transferred on a everyday life. So basically, there are like recall bias, confirmation bias, selection bias, and plenty of them. Statistics teaches you to do right things and to do things right. Like if in terms of bias, for example, when we're talking about it. And it's very important to learn about uncomfortable things, to ensure that all parties of a conversation are involved into the conversation, for example, just to ensure that the data distribution, like ensured, let's say.
Yeah.
Also, constructive feedback is very important if we're talking about bias. And yeah, I mean, if the biggest example would be, I guess in the US, there is such thing as society polarization. I mean, a lot of people are getting left, a lot of people are getting right, and there is way less people in the middle that try to handle these different opinions out there. And that's nothing else than a confirmation bias. For example, if we're talking about Facebook feed, people, like, confirmation bias is nothing else as you confirm your beliefs, and for people are lazy and people are irrational, and for many of them it's way more easy to see what they want, what they want to see, and answer on a question that only support their beliefs, and even if it's not true. So, and that's, for example, how Facebook feed algorithms, like on a larger scale, developed. And let's say,
because they want to keep you on the platform and keep using it so they can
exactly
sell your attention to advertisers.
Exactly. And that's the biggest paradox to my mind. There's a lot of easy accessible information out there, really a lot. You can Google everything you want. And if we get more information, it gets way more difficult to differentiate between real true or real false,
Yeah.
you know? And that's why it's important to learn about such thing as, for example, confirmation bias. And it's the biggest thing for me, in my personal perspective, that impacts the society and its future, also
Right.
our everyday life, you know?
Mhm.
And yeah, it's important to build, for example, more like the fuller picture of the outer world. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I have you on. So we can like better understand these concepts so we can apply them in our lives, be a better human, be a better contributor to our own communities. And then that with more people doing this, the world becomes a better place.